Namaste. My sincerest apologies for not posting a video of Bal Ganesh Heramba for some time. I will try to post much more regularly from now on. I actually planned this video back in December 2021, when Heramba was just 7 months old. So the footage is from that time. Right now, he is nearly 1 year old. What we did back in December was play a traditional fun game with deep significance. We spaced various objects on the floor and let him crawl to whichever one he was most attracted to. Each object represented a set of tendencies, qualities and professions, and so whichever object Heramba first crawled to is supposed to indicate which tendencies and qualities he will have and which profession he will be drawn to in life. The objects we placed were books, signifying a keen interest in learning and study, a Khukri, signifying becoming a warrior, money and jewellery, signifying interest in economic activities, and a musical instrument signifying artistic tendencies. Which do you think he chose? I'll reveal this at the end of the video. Patiji absolutely wanted him to choose one particular thing. Throughout history and around the world, people have typically gone into the same or similar profession as their family before them. For example, in the West, if your father's surname was Taylor, you almost certainly would become a clothes tailor. If your father's surname was Smith, you would almost certainly become a blacksmith. This is because in the West, education and training opportunities were usually not available to you to become anything else. This system suited the rich people because it meant that they and their friends and family could stay rich. It also suited the Christian clergy and God-chosen royalty, because it meant that they had no challenge to their authority and so could continue controlling the population as they wished to. So, in the West, you were stuck in the profession into which you were born. This only started to disappear after the period of enlightenment, so for the last few hundred years only. This was the beginning of the movement to question the stranglehold of the royalty, clergy and rich. Since this rigid by-birth configuration of society has collapsed in the West, it has been replaced by a free-for-all system, where society attempts to give everyone the same chances to become whatever they want to be. The problem is, though, that when there is so much choice and little structure to help you navigate all of that choice, you get drawn to what is most respected by society. And so, because Western society is very economically and materially focused, in reality, the jobs that people end up wanting to pursue are those that are well paid and come with status. This is creating problems because not everyone can become a top pilot or a lawyer or a doctor. Society couldn't work that way. Society also needs school teachers, farmers, artists and craftspeople, cleaners and builders, for example. Some people are naturally inclined to these professions, but are put off from pursuing them because they are not very respected by Western society. I have always been very aware of this issue. When I was 11 years old, my school class was set the task to describe what we felt the most perfect world would look like. 11-year-old me described a world in which every human is born with talents that align with their interests and family and societal expectations, and where all professions are appreciated and everyone is encouraged to follow their interests and talents. I must have dreamt of such a world because already at this young age I could see that my school friends and I were feeling pressure to work towards a career that today's society really respects, rather than what we enjoyed doing or where our talents lay. We were all very different people, but were feeling shoehorned into the same professions and lifestyles. A few years ago, I was so amazed to learn that the ideal world that I had dreamed of as an 11-year-old has been in effect in Bharat for thousands of years. The Hindu Varna system recognizes, celebrates and supports human diversity and the needs of a balanced society. It does this while providing a framework that allows people to excel where their talents and interests lie. Varna is the source of our motivation and points each of us in the direction of our calling, our dharma. Based on your karma from previous births, you were born into a certain family. This makes sense because many people are naturally inclined to the profession and lifestyle of their family. It's hardwired into their DNA. However, if they are not naturally inclined to the profession and lifestyle of their family, it is their duty and the duty of their family to encourage and enable them to move to a profession or lifestyle more suited to their interests and talents. The Shastras make it clear that the Varna that one is born into is not rigid and is also subject to merit in this life. This is explained beautifully in the Mahabharata, as Markandeya Rishi explains to Yudhishthir in Varna Parv, and as Yudhishthir explains to Nahush in Ajgar Parv. If you live and work as a Shudra, you are a Shudra, even if you were born into a Brahmin family, and vice versa. There are many examples of this. Vedic society understood that all Varnas are required for society to function. Hence, all Varnas are respected, and the Shastras provided knowledge on how each should live and work in order to be the very best version of themselves. Contrary to what many critics think, the Varnas are not hierarchical in terms of economics. In fact, Brahmins would often be the poorest, some subsiding only on donations in keeping with their qualities of being less attached to the material world. Similarly, Shudras could be wealthy. After all, the work that they do is critically important and in demand. For example, I guess my dad is Shudra in qualities and profession as he is a plumber. Just because he spends each day fitting and fixing toilets, sinks, boilers and pipes, it doesn't mean he is poor. Far from it, he has done very well for himself financially because plumbing is an important service that is in demand by everyone. But most importantly, people from all Varnas can progress towards moksha. The Vadya Gita in the Mahabharata gives an excellent example of this, telling how a humble butcher taught a sannyasi Brahmin about dharma. The important message of this episode is that no duty is impure or ugly if it is done with a good and pure intention, in compliance with dharma and as an offering to Bhagwan. Let's return to Bal Ganesh Heramba. Which objects do you think he chose? So, Heramba chose the Khukri, the object associated with warrior-like qualities, or Kshatriya Varna. The duty of Kshatriyas is to uphold and sustain humanity. Unsurprisingly, Heramba comes from a long line of Kshatriyas on his paternal side. Patiji was absolutely thrilled. Mera she beta, he said. We shall have to wait and see what direction Heramba takes in life. But at the moment, it looks as if he will be interested in and excel at things like sports and defence. But of course, we will encourage him to pursue his true nature, whatever interests him, wherever his talents lay, as long as they are dharmic.